Jeremy Clarkson lifestyle and net worth. Jeremy Charles Robert Clarkson, born April 11, 1960, is an English television presenter, journalist, and writer who specializes in motoring. He is best known for the motoring programs Top Gear and the Grand Tour alongside Richard Hammond and James May. He also currently writes weekly columns for the Sunday Times, and The Sun. Clarkson hosts the ITV game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and co-hosts the reality show Clarkson's Farm. From a career as a local journalist in Northern England, Clarkson rose to public prominence as a presenter of the original format of Top Gear in 1988. Since the mid-1990s, he has become a recognized public personality, regularly appearing on British television, presenting his own shows for the BBC and appearing as a guest on other shows. As well as motoring, Clarkson has produced programs and books on subjects such as history and engineering, and has written numerous books. In 1998, he hosted the first series of Robot Wars, and from 1998 to 2000 he also hosted his own talk show, Clarkson. In 2015, the BBC elected not to renew Clarkson's contract after he assaulted a Top Gear producer while filming on location. That year, Clarkson and his Top Gear co-presenters and producer Andy Willman formed the production company W. Chump and Sons to produce the Grand Tour for Amazon Prime Video. Clarkson's opinionated but humorous tongue-in-cheek writing and presenting style has often provoked a public reaction. His actions, both privately and as a Top Gear presenter, have also sometimes resulted in criticism from the media, politicians, pressure groups, and the public. He also has a significant public following, being credited as a major factor in the resurgence of Top Gear as one of the most popular shows on the BBC. Since 2021, he has become a farmer at Diddley Squat Farm for his show, Clarkson's Farm. The show received a positive reception and became a popular show on Amazon Prime upon its release. In May 2024, the Clarkson's Clause Amendment, named after Clarkson, was introduced, which made it easier to convert unused agricultural buildings to commercial usage, something he did in Season 2 of the show when planning permission for his restaurant was denied. Jeremy Clarkson has a net worth of $70 million. He is best known as the host of the internationally acclaimed sports car show Top Gear, which is consistently one of the most viewed television shows in the world. Clarkson stands at a height of 6 feet 5 inches, approximately 1.96 meter tall. Having said that, let's roll. Early life. Jeremy Clarkson was born on April 11, 1960, in Doncaster, England, to Shirley and Edward. His parents put Clarkson's name down years in advance for private school, with no idea of how they were going to afford the tuition. Shortly before he was to begin school, his parents made 2 Paddington Bear toys for their children. They were so popular that they began selling them. However, they were soon served with a cease and desist notice from the legal team of Paddington Bear's creator, Michael Bond. Edward Clarkson went to London to meet with Bond's lawyer. He ended up meeting Bond in the elevator on the way to the meeting, and the two hit it off. Bond awarded the Clarksons the worldwide licensing rights to Paddington Bear. The income from this paid for Jeremy's schooling. Clarkson has said that he was badly bullied and very unhappy while a student at Repton School. He attended Repton School at the same time as former Top Gear executive producer Andy Willman and Formula One engineer Adrian Newey. He was eventually expelled from Repton School for a number of infractions. Personal life, real estate, and car collection. In 1989, Clarkson married Alex Hall. She left him for one of his friends 6 months later. In May 1993, he married his manager, Frances Kane. They had 3 children. Kane filed for divorce in April 2014. In September 2010, Clarkson was granted a privacy injunction against his first wife to prevent her from publishing claims that their sexual relationship continued after he married Kane. Clarkson is a big fan of the progressive rock band Genesis. He attended the band's 2007 reunion concert at London's Twickenham Stadium. He also provided sleeve notes for the reissue of Selling England by the Pound as part of the Genesis 1970 to 1975 box set. Clarkson has owned several luxury vehicles, including a Range Rover TDV 8 Vogue SE, Mercedes-Benz 600 Grosser, Mercedes-Benz SLK 55 AMG, Lotus Elise 111S, BMW M3 CSL, Mercedes CLK 63 AMG Black, Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG Roadster, Ferrari F355, Aston Martin Virage, Lamborghini Gallardo, Alfa Romeo Alfetta GTV6, McLaren 675LT, and more. Historically, Clarkson has been unsympathetic to the green movement and has at times mocked groups like Greenpeace, calling them eco-mentalists that are a result of old trade unionists and CND, campaign for nuclear disarmament, lesbians. He has called wind farms something that in the future will be a reminder of the time when mankind temporarily took leave of its senses and decided wind, waves, and lashings of tofu could somehow generate enough electricity for the whole planet. Professional career. Clarkson's first job was as a traveling salesman for his parents' business, selling Paddington Bear toys. He later trained as a journalist with the Rotherham Advertiser, before also writing for the Rochdale Observer, Wolverhampton Express and Star, Lincolnshire Life, Shropshire Star, and the Associated Kent newspapers. When writing in 2015 in his final column for Top Gear magazine, he credited the Shropshire Star as his first outlet as a motoring columnist. I started small on the Shropshire Star with little Peugeots and Fiats and worked my way up to Ford Granadas and Rovers until, after about 7 years, I was allowed to drive an Aston Martin Lagonda. It was 10 years before I drove my first Lamborghini in 1984. Clarkson formed the motoring press agency, MPA, in which, with fellow motoring journalist Jonathan Gill, he conducted road tests for local newspapers and automotive magazines. This developed into articles for publications such as Performance Car. He has regularly written for Top Gear magazine since its launch in 1993. In 1987, Clarkson wrote for Amstrad Computer User and compiled Amstrad CPC game reviews. Clarkson writes regular columns in the tabloid newspaper The Sun and for the broadsheet newspaper The Sunday Times. His columns in the Times are republished in the weekend Australian newspaper. He also writes for the Wheels section of the Toronto Star. He has written humorous books about cars and several other subjects, with many of his books being collections of articles that he has written for the Sunday Times. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.